Hey, everybody. So, one of the things about That's Life that I love is that our show is called That's Life. And when technology tends to get crazy, we come back and we come back stronger. So, thank you to every single one that was on our first feed of That's Life. We are going to continue on our conversation about the importance of will and trust. We're going to take a quick break. We are going to answer all those questions that we have in regards to wills and trust, and we're going to talk about ways that you can improve and make sure that you are not leaving your family with burden during the hard times. We'll be right back.
I didn't realize that going to take my first mammogram would impact the rest of my life. I had my life planned out, and I felt prepared in all aspects. I thought I had it all figured out until May 10th, 2017. Never in a million years did I know that breast cancer would be the newest and latest chapter of my life. My life, although chaotic, was stable. In a matter of months, my life was turned inside out. This is a story of my life. It breaks down how I discovered cancer, my journey through the pain and obstacles of it, and how I'm currently dealing with the aftermath. I must move forward on this unpaved road called life. I hope that after reading my story, you'll be more inspired, you will be stronger, you will feel freer, and you are able to move forward in your own journey, whatever that may be. God bless you, and know that I'm in your corner.
Hey, I'm Natasha Nedrick, the empowerment coach and founder of Empowering Imprints. And I have a question for you. When is the last time you went to work and you did something really life-giving? I mean, you showed up on a Monday morning and you were excited to be there. The truth of the matter is, far too often we find ourselves climbing corporate ladders we never intended to be on. Why? Because we've convinced ourselves that the only way we can make money to put food on the table to take care of our family is to work at a job that leaves us dead and feeling unsatisfied. Well, I want to challenge you to change your narrative, to believe that the gifts and the talent and the purpose and the passion that God placed inside of you shouldn't be going to waste. In fact, it should be making you money. As an empowerment coach, I work with faith-based entrepreneurs and professionals to help them discover their purpose, monetize their gifts, and build wealth. You keep saying you're ready to start your business, to write your book, to start your next. You know what God has placed inside of you. You keep putting it on hold. You know what it is. You just need someone to empower you to get it out of you. Go to empoweringimprints.com and let me empower you to do your next.
Welcome back to That's Life. I'm your host, Leah Leach. Thank you so much for all those that are tuning in. As you know, we had a little bit of technical difficulty. My apologies. That's why the show is called That's Life. That's one of the things that I love about our show, because life happens. We are going to be waiting on Janelle to come back into the platform. In the meantime, we're going to go over some tips and things that you can do in terms of building your trust and will. And we're going to also answer those questions that we have in terms of how to get the trust and the wills that you need drafted so that you can leave your family without burden. Okay. So we're going to go over some of the tips that we have. And then again, we're just waiting on Janelle to come back into our platform. So when she comes back in, we're going to add her and we're going to talk a little bit more further about the things relating to trust and will. So the first one is you have to decide how your estate will be distributed. And as you heard Janelle state earlier, one of the most important things that you can do for your family when it comes to the transition process and what that looks like is to make sure that everything is in place when it comes to your estate. It's very important that you are very intentional about who your estate is left to, where it's going to be left, the type of things that you're going to be specific about when it comes to your estate and what that looks like. Number two, you decide who will take care of your minor children. It is critical very, very critical that you do what is necessary to make sure that your children are being taken care of. You do not want to assume and presume that the person that you have been living with, whether you're cohabitating with them, whether you're married to them, if they're the stepfather, step-parent, you do not want to assume that that person is going to be the person to care for your minor children. So it's important that you are intentional about who that person is. If that person is obviously of sound mind, it's important that that person is someone that can financially support them, emotionally support them, and give them all the guidance that they need to be good and healthy citizens. Number 3, to avoid a lengthy probate process. And we talked a little bit about probate. It is so critical that in terms of the process of going back to court, back and forth, that we are making sure that we have things in place so that when it comes time for the will to be drafted, that we're not doing a lot of back and forth to the court systems. A lot of times, far too often, do people go to court for trivial things because there's not anything put in place to ensure that that this person wants something specific. So please, to avoid going to court back and forth, make sure that you're intentional in your will about what it is that you are looking for and what you are seeking. Number 4, minimize estate taxes. It is important when it comes to the process of anything that has to relate to estates, that you do what is necessary to minimize the cost, because again, we're thinking about your property that is being left to someone else. It's so important that we're doing things, again, intentional, so that we're not leaving burden to those that are behind. Number 5, you decide who will wind up the affairs of your estate. Again, this all goes back in line with making sure that we're intentional about who will and will deal with all the affairs of your estate. That is the importance of making sure you have the power of attorney in place to make sure that things are in place. Number 6, you can disinherit individuals who would otherwise stand to inherit. I think that is so important, because a lot of times we assume that when you have children, or when you have a husband or a wife or a person that is a close relationship, that the association is that they're going to inherit specifically what it is that you're going to do. And I think far too often we are we're doing a disservice by assuming that the person is going to inherit certain things. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to bring Janelle back in. It's very important that we have this remainder of the show, that we answer those questions to the Q&A. Thank you all so much for your patience and your just ability to be back on the show. We'll be right back. We're going to run a few commercial ads and bring Janelle back in.
Want to advertise your business or product on our show, That's Life? Go to our website at that'slifebyleahleach.com. We have packaging for those that would like to utilize our ticker every Friday and Saturday for just $15 per show. You can also do video advertisements for $40 for our Saturday show. Take your business to the very next level and utilize us so that we can help you expand your business. Until then, make butterfly moves daily. Again, you can go to our website at that'slifebyleahleach.com for all packaging, pricing, and for further details. Bible verse, as we always do on That's Life. So my quote comes from Mr. Bob Marley. You never know how strong you are until being strong is the only choice that you have. Our Bible verse comes from Romans 5:3-5. Not only so, but we are also glory in our sufferings, because we know that suffering produces perseverance. Post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD, is a type of anxiety disorder that develops after exposure to a traumatic event. An event can be considered is your first time here. If you're unfamiliar with how it goes, on Friday, we do our resource show where we offer resources to all those who need it. So we offer food, rental assistance, job opportunities, anything that will be able to help the community. If you're looking for a realtor in the Atlanta area, Janelle is your girl. She will make the home buying experience amazing for you. All of her information is below on our ticker, so please utilize her if you're looking for a realtor in the Atlanta area. So we always sponsor this week is Zeont Starfighter's book series. Without knowing why they receive strange elemental base fragments or even why they exist, Kenneth Lambert and Richard Troglin will embark on new destinies that will ram them and their opposing ideals head on. Want to know more? Go to zeontstarfighters.com for details and to order your copy of the book. You will not be disappointed. It's an amazing book.
Welcome, welcome, welcome back to That's Life. I'm your host, Leah Leach. Thank you so much for coming back with us. As you know, the show is called That's Life, people. So life has a funny way of just doing things, and technology is no exception to the rule. We know that with COVID-19, everybody's doing things virtually. And boy, virtual has been a challenge for all of us, I believe, at this point. And I would love to thank our very special guest, Ms. Janelle Williams, for coming back with us. Thank you so much, Janelle, for coming back.
And isn't this a teaching tool, right? That despite our best intentions, despite all the things that we do to put things in place the way they're supposed to be in place, life happens. And so I don't care if you're a marathon runner with the best health possible, things happen. We have to constantly understand that I believe everything happens for a reason, but that no matter what plans we put in place about the life we want to live, things can change on us. Different situations can occur. So again, perfect segue into ensuring that we take the steps we can to have our plan B in place. What are we doing if in case something else happens? I think this was fabulous. The Lord let that happen.
And
so
amen
folk
to that.
will understand. Exhibit A, life.
Amen to that. And I thank God for having a secondary laptop when situations happen like this. Okay, so we're going to go actually straight to our Q&A because I know that we do have to end the show, and I do want to acknowledge the questions that we have written down. And we did do some tools. We're going to finish the tools as well so that you can get your wills and your trust and all those important documents drafted today. No excuses. We're going to be all about making sure that you do what you need to do so that you don't leave your family with burden. So my first question comes from Natasha Nedrick. Natasha asked, should I add a no contest clause in the will? And what are the benefits and downfalls if I choose to do that?
So the reality is every document is contestable. And I'm hearing an echo. Can you hear that, or is okay?
I think it's not on my side, but you're good to go on my side.
Wonderful. I think that we can put it in there, but the reality is that anyone who is a potential heir does have the right to question what you put in there. They can question were you of your sound mind? Was there somebody forcing you to do something? Was there some duress? The only way that you really can avoid that is with a trust. Wills, like I said, they are public documents. They go before a judge. A judge has to sign off to handle the estate. And so we have to notify anyone who could potentially gain from what you put in your will. This is the big reason, number two, outside of an anonymity and confidentiality, that people will choose a trust because they want to say in the trust, you can't contest this. You can do that inside of a trust and say, if you contest it, then your the consequence of that will be you will be disinherited. That is language we can put in a trust. But in a will, anyone who is questioning anything about how the document was done, it becomes a problem. It's one of the reasons why I strongly advise people against all of the different online servers where you can pay $1.99, $4.99 and try to get some kind of document drafted. You have to be very careful with that. They're very easy to contest. And when we're looking at estate planning packages, we're talking about things anywhere from $1,500 to $3,000, $4,000. It's a large sum of money, but compared to what your family will pay in probate, which can be tens and tens of thousands of dollars, drawing down the equity that was left in the house, it is not comparable, right? And so we want to make sure our documents are overseen by a lawyer, that they meet the laws of the state, so they're harder to contest. You want to do it when you're not suffering from illness. Don't wait till you're 85 on your deathbed and think, let me get these documents done. Do them in your 30s and 40s while you're building. You can continue to add to the documents, but it's going to be a lot harder to question Leah Leach, who's on here with her YouTube show, doling out all this positive information, encouraging us to make butterfly moves when she clearly is of her sound mind. She's clearly understanding what she's doing. So this is really a better time to sit down and get all of these things drafted so that it will be harder to contest if you choose to just have the will.
Excellent, excellent answer. Okay, so I have 4 questions from this one viewer, Glenda. So we're going to start with the first question is, what is the cost for setting up a will and 5 documents included? So I know for the state of, it varies from state to state. So we'll start for the state of Georgia. What is typically the cost to draft a will?
So for me, we do mostly flat fees. And so for a will, advanced health care directive, durable financial power of attorney, your HIPAA release, your letter of intention where we set out what it is you'd like to have happen. We review your beneficiaries, review all your policies. That is a $1,500 package. That gets you that. If you want to trust, it's a much more engaged conversation where creating a living document that will change through the years, that starts at about $3,000. I also handle probate cases. So that's what happens if your loved one has passed away. With a will, it's a much less expensive process. We're talking about a $3,000 or so retainer. Without a will, we're starting with $10,000. And that can be exceptionally expensive. As we're going through court, as various people, that third cousin twice removed pops up and says, I was supposed to have those things. All of those things are billable per hour when you're looking at an attorney. So when you're looking at the cost difference, it's much smarter for you and for your estates to pay $1,500 to whatever the cost of a trust may be for you in the beginning, than for your family to try to find a solid attorney on the probate side and pay all of that money down the line, because every will has to be probated. It's not you can't get around it. It's just going to be a lot less expensive and take less time if you have a will versus if you don't. The only way to avoid probate entirely is to have a well-drafted trust. So that's the price range. Obviously, depending on the part of Georgia you're in, that may be higher or lower. I'm originally from New York. You're not going to find many lawyers who are going to charge you $1,500 for a will package. It's in the thousands. So you'll have to kind of do your research in the area where you are. I also have an amazing list of attorneys in different states. So feel free to contact my office. You can go on my website and contact me. It's www.georgiawillsandtrust.com. I'm regularly referring attorneys from different states to clients who are looking to get their documents drafted.
Excellent, excellent. And we're going to ask one last question and then we're going to close out our show. So my question to you, Janelle, is for someone like me who is needing a will, who's needing a trust, do you recommend that I go on my own to do it, or do I go seek a professional? Because I think a lot of times, like you said, people want to do the easy way out, and it's easy to do these things online. It's accessible to you. But for someone like me who's never done a formal document, which direction would you suggest that I go?
I think it's the way that we look at a medical issue. Your heart is not beating properly. It's having some issues. Now, you may call Big Mama and say, well, what do you do for that? Is there a particular mustard rub you could put on and then make it go away? And if that is not sufficient, I would never tell you to go to a random guru who says that they know how to heal people but has never been to college or medical school. I'm going to tell you to go to the hospital. I'm going to tell you this is serious. You don't want to play with your life. Get yourself to someone with an MD behind their name and ensure that they give you the proper course of action. It's the same thing with lawyers. You know, we're that group of people that you don't want us, you don't like us until you need us, right? And it's okay. I'm not hurt, you know, but it's important that you invest on the front end. And I'm talking to people who in the past 10 years have taken a family vacation and you've spent more than a couple grand on that. Why would that be an okay thing? But you ensuring that your legacy is protected is not. As a people, who look at our current state of affairs. We look at systemic racism. We're trying to figure out how to get out of it. My particular soapbox is this is a way to give our children a step up from where we were, which is a step up, hopefully, from where our parents were, so that all of this work that we're doing is not in vain and they just get whatever money we've left them and they just squander it. It gives them direction. It allows them not to have to pay as much in legal fees on the back end. It's imperative that you hire someone who knows what they're doing, who's on top of the law. And honestly, this is probably not good for business because I make more money handling probate because people don't do the wills, or they pop up with one of these that are from some online superstore and the law has changed, or the documents are wrong, or they put in the wrong answer to a question because they didn't understand the question and it invalidated everything they wanted to do. If you look at the fine print on any of these legal sites, they're going to tell you, we're not lawyers, consult with one. But who reads that, right? So I'm here to tell you live in the flesh with my Howard sweater on, go to an attorney. It is imperative that you talk to a professional who can make sure that the goals that you have are met with these legal documents.
Excellent. Janelle, you have been amazing. Can you tell the viewers, I know you said a little bit about who you work for and a little bit about what you do, but tell the viewers if they're looking for someone to help them in this process, where they could find you.
So you can find me on my website. The address is www.georgia, spelled out Georgia, wills, WILLS, and trust, TRUST.com. On there, you can contact me. You can schedule a consultation. We can meet up. You can also reach out to me that way to ask me if it is that you need an attorney in a different state, how to do that. I'm also at Georgia Wills and Trust on Instagram. I'm still working on social media. You know, we in our 40s with little people at home. So I pray for me, saints. Pray for me, saints. But it is there. I certainly get a lot of messages on there when I speak at events. You can go on there and reach out to me as well and say, I need some help in getting this done. I cannot stress it enough. It's imperative that you get these documents done. And I wanted to mention, hopefully, Leah will be able to put it somewhere in the comments afterwards, but there is an auction that I'm actually involved in with a school that I love, where I am offering an advanced healthcare directive or a financial power of attorney at a very reduced rate to benefit this school called Drew Charter here in Atlanta, Georgia. It helps with their foundation. It helps families who have struggled through COVID and helps with their PTA. And so that typically is a $350 document if you do it on your own. I think the bids on it now are $70 so far. So you can certainly take advantage of that. Not only would you be benefiting an amazing school, but you get a pretty serious discount on that document, or you can also attribute that to a $350 discount off of a estate plan package. So what better reason to get started and head on over to this particular auction. So if we can figure out a way to add that link, take advantage of that.
And
But this has been a joy.
I'm actually going to show that link, and I think it's imperative that we do. And thank you for being a woman of grace and dignity and being still present part of the show, because I know that this was a very important show for not only me, but for so many people who don't understand the magnitude of what we're doing. I think, like you said, far too often we care more about the things that don't matter, and we don't care about the things that do. And it's just so important that we're doing that. So I want to go ahead and show what Janelle was talking about in terms of the auction. And y'all excuse me because I have a very slow computer. So it's going to take a minute to come up. But once it comes up, I will go ahead and show the information related to the auction. We are going to close out our show. But before we do, you know I always come with a Bible verse and a quote. My intention behind the show, although we did have technical issues, is I hope that you got something out of it. I hope that it implores you to be able to take the next level when it comes to getting things in place for those who are being left behind. Okay, and as you all can see, based on what I'm screen sharing, this is the information that Janelle was talking about. Again, I will make sure that I post this on my social media page on Facebook, as well as on the YouTube channel and on Instagram, because it's so imperative and important that we are making sure that we are doing what is necessary for our family. We do not want to leave our family with burden. It's the worst thing that we can do as a people, and the worst thing we can do, especially now with COVID-19. So I'm going to close with our quote. Our quote of the evening is, legacy is not what I did for myself. It's what I'm doing for the next generation. And that's from Victor Belfort. Our Bible verse of the evening comes from Psalms 112, 1 and 3 from the ESV. Praise the Lord. Blessed is the man who fears the Lord, who greatly delights in his commandments. His offspring will be mighty in the land. The generation of the upright will be blessed. Wealth and riches are in the house of the righteousness, and it will endure forever. Thank you so much for being a part of our show today. I hope you got something out of this. I will share this link to Janelle's auction. Please take advantage of this if you need it, if you need the service, and please reach out to her if you need some help with your trust and will. From That's Life, make butterflies moves daily. See you then. Bye, everybody.